Welcome back, friends. Perry here to talk more about being a technology sales professional. We've already kind of covered the basics, so I thought we'd dig in a little bit. And we're going to focus on software and application sales. We're going to go through each one of these modules, but I thought we'd start first with that because selling software can be very, very lucrative. There are a vast number of software products and platforms available, and when evaluating a career as a software sales professional, it's important to pick the platform that has a large demand and a high price point. Again, the more the product is, the more your commission is going to be on each sale. But also you want to make sure that you pick a product that has a big demand. For example, things like financial systems, HR systems. Every company needs an HR system. Every company over a certain size, I should say. Every company over a certain size needs financial systems. Whatever the case may be, you've got to look at those products that are going to be really in demand, but also have a high price point for you so you can get a high commission. Some examples I thought I'd take you through. Customer resource management tools, such as Salesforce.com or Microsoft Dynamics. These are the tools that organizations use to manage all their clients. And these are very expensive. Salesforce, for example, is $125 a month per individual license. So let's say that you have a call center and your call center is supporting clients or trying to sell to clients, and you've got 50 people in a call center times $125 a month times 12 months a year. Yeah, that's a good commission. Healthcare. Woo! Healthcare. There is no more expensive software out there than healthcare information technology. Epic is a vast product that's used in healthcare systems to manage patient health experience. Things like personal medical records, scheduling, billing, all kinds of stuff is managed in Epic. Other products like McKesson, big hospital management systems. These products are literally tens of millions of dollars. Tough to get into, a little bit hard to get into that game. But let's say we talked about before, maybe you've worked in healthcare before, or maybe you're in pharmaceutical sales and you're looking to make a change. Getting into healthcare information technology type products like an Epic, like a McKesson, it's great. I mean, again, long sales cycles, pretty competitive, but if you can succeed in that, you're guaranteed at least $500,000 a year in commissions. Enterprise resource planning, things like SAP. I've never known an SAP implementation that was less than like $5 million. Again, love those price tags, love those commissions. Oracle Financials for financial systems, another high dollar one. Tableau, not quite as high dollar, but really blowing up. Business intelligence tools, Tableau or Microsoft's BI tools. There's a few others. Business Objects is another one. MicroStrategy. So these are some of the products. Those are definitely in the six-figure range. Collaboration platforms. Microsoft SharePoint is a big one. Jive is another big one. These are products that definitely go for a couple $100,000 in software licensing. Then you got security tools like Checkpoint. Checkpoint's a big security platform. Six-figure price tag. Project management. Jira is a great project management tool, heavily in demand. And then there's just straight up Microsoft Office sales. If you work for what's called a VAR, a value-added reseller, and they tend to sell software licensing around Microsoft, you can definitely do very well selling that. And then database platforms, again, Oracle, huge. Oracle licensing companies pay millions of dollars for Oracle licensing, as well as Microsoft SQL. Not as pricey, but more prolific than Oracle. I just want to give you a little sampling, so as you're doing your homework and you're starting to try to figure out what you want to sell, these are some general categories that are in demand in terms of what companies are buying, and this will be a great starting point for you to begin to do your homework and figure out which direction you might want to go in. All right, software as a service, aka the cloud. Software, like everything else, is associated with information technologies being transformed by the cloud. The most common software programs used by consumers and business alike are now being sold exclusively via the cloud. A good example would be Adobe. Adobe used to sell their bundle of like Adobe Photoshop, Illustrator, others in a big box with lots of CDs, and it was very expensive. It was like $1,200. And they had a lot of issues with piracy because people just didn't want to spend that much money for it, especially graphic designers who inherently don't make a lot of money to start with. So what they did was they started selling their product for a per monthly service, anywhere from $25 to $55 a month, depending on exactly what you got in it. Well, that's a lot easier to swallow if you are a graphic designer, to spend $50 a month for all this different software. You get to spread that cost out. But more importantly, if you're Adobe, you also get to limit piracy, because suddenly the demand for piracy goes down because people are like, I can afford, $30, $40, $50 a month, instead of having to pop down $1,200 in one chunk. So piracy is a big push to having software vendors move their licensing, distribution, and management to the cloud. It's good for the consumer. It's good for the software providers. And the cloud offers so many advantages, in terms of things like getting things patched, having products scale up or down. Let's say that you're a company going through a merger and you need to acquire a bunch of software licensing, but maybe you only need that software licensing for a short period of time, maybe 3 to 6 months. Maybe you're bringing on a lot of temporary resources for a particular project, but after that project's over, you're not going to need all that software licensing. The cloud allows you just to buy what you need for the duration of time you need it in. So you don't have to buy, millions of dollars in software. You can spend a couple $100,000, and then, when you're done, you're done. You don't have to keep paying for it. It's also great for the software companies. I've said that piracy issue, I cannot tell you how big of a problem that is for software companies. It's billions of dollars are lost every year in piracy, and the cloud is really reducing that. Also, it gives the software companies a more predictable revenue model, and you as a salesperson a more predictable revenue model. Because as you're selling these software licensing, you're selling these cloud subscriptions, whatever the case may be, you can know that year after year, you're probably going to see renewals on that cloud product, and you can kind of count on that revenue for your commission structure. And as future software sales professionals, make sure you understand how software distribution and the management of it via the cloud impacts the sales process, because it's definitely different, and every software company has its own sort of different structure. So you want to make sure as a sales professional you don't get hosed by that. For example, you want to make sure that you're commissioned on renewals. So let's say you get the client to sell a year, you sell a year licensing for a product. You want to make sure you get spiffed on the renewal next year and the year after that. Just little things to keep an eye out for. So definitely check the fine print in terms of if you're selling software products in the cloud, make sure you understand how they're being distributed and how you're going to be compensated for those sales. All right, so software sales compensation. It is all over the map. Base salary, 40 to 100K. 40 is probably what you're looking at to get started. If you're just kind of getting into sales and you're hustling, you're not going to make a huge base salary unless you're a really seasoned sales professional and you're bringing like a lot of clients with you. Really where you're going to make that money is in the commissions. And where you want to be, let me just put it this way. If you're only making $5,000 in commission, you're probably not going to last that long. You want to be making about $100,000 to $200,000 a year in commission, and definitely selling big dollar software products. That can happen. I did some research, and it was tough for me to get like kind of an official number, but a lot of the software professionals who were selling things like Oracle or security products that I spoke with were making at least $200,000 a year. So you can feel pretty comfortable that if you choose a good product and you get hired into a good company and you're really moving and shaking, you can definitely get to that 250 spot, as long as you're working hard at it. All right, stay with us. The next module is coming right up.